All right, what's going on, guys? Forget the MVP race, forget SGA versus Jokic, forget Wemby, forget all of it. We're not even halfway through the season, and this Rookie of the Year race is already stacking up to be one of the most entertaining races we've seen in a while. And this rookie class so far has exceeded expectations of many people. Cooper Flag came in with all the hype, but now you have guys like VJ Edgecombe and Con Knipple and Cedric Coward that are kind of stealing the spotlight right now. This rookie class looks incredibly deep, and so far this Rookie of the Year race and who's on top and who's moving has been fluctuating week to week, and it's just another incredibly entertaining part of this season outside of NBA game action. But before we get into the nitty gritty, the meat and potatoes of this video, if you guys enjoy content like this, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you guys want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you guys. I want to build and foster a great community of just guys who just love the NBA and just want to talk about all things NBA. And last but not least, comment down below your favorite rookie coming into this NBA season, and then also somebody who's kind of surprised you, because there's been a lot of surprises so far this season. But with all that jibber jabber out of the way, let's get into the video. All right, first guy I want to talk about is everybody's favorite white boy. No, not that white boy. This white boy, Con Knipple. Con Knipple for me so far has been the #1 guy out of this class so far. 17.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 46% from the field. So for a rookie, pretty good efficiency. When LaMelo first went out, that was when Con Knipple had his moment to shine. I mean, if you look at his last 5 or 8 games, 24 points, 8 points, that's a rough night, 32 points, 16, 19, 30, 20, 24. On once again, overall, pretty respectable efficiency for a rookie. Give rookies a little bit more of a grace period with efficiency because they're not used to the speed of an NBA basketball game. They're not used to grown men, getting all up in them. Pause. And so it's a lot more of an adjustment period for rookies to be able to comfortably get their shot up and feel good about the shots that they're putting up. But Knipple's looked pretty dang good so far and really hasn't had those growing pains that you kind of see in a lot of NBA rookies. And I'm not going to lie. You know me. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I'll admit when my takes are bad, when they don't work out. I really didn't like Con Knipple coming into this draft, and I thought he was a terrible pick from the Hornets at 4 overall. Because to me, coming into the league, all I saw Con Knipple as was a spot-up shooter. Like a Danny Green or like a Gary Trent Jr., a Duncan Robinson, AJ Green. People like that really just sit out on the three-point line, wait for the defense to collapse when other players drive the ball. They kick out, they get open shots. In drafting a spot-up shooter at the 4th overall pick was crazy in my opinion. Because what I saw in Con Knipple was low ceiling, high floor. And by that I mean like he's a player that probably wasn't going to be a bust out of the league in 4 years. He had a very high floor, which meant at the very worst he probably was going to be a respectable role player for a long time in this league. But low ceiling meant he probably wasn't going to develop into a star, in my opinion, a go-to guy, a 1 or 2 option on a team. Because you don't really see guys who sit out on the three-point line, spot up, get ready to shoot, as guys who command an offense. And so to me, taking a high floor, low ceiling player like that with the 4th overall pick was insane. The 4th overall pick, that's a guy you want to pick that's like possibly going to be one of your best players in a couple years to lead you, to the win column. And I just didn't see that in Con Knipple. But oh my gosh, he has surprised me so much. He's shown me that he is more than just a spot-up shooter. He is a certified bucket getter. He makes really good, quick, concise, effective moves to get to his spots out on the floor, out in the mid-range, taking layups, finishing around people. It's really been kind of amazing to watch. And I remember the first couple games that I watched him, I was like, whoa, this is not the player that I thought he was coming into the draft. His offensive game is a lot more refined than I thought it was. And so yes, a player like that warrants a 4th overall pick way more than what I originally thought he was. And so if he can just develop good defensive awareness and defensive intangibles, then you have a two-way scoring star. Some Hornets fans, maybe crazy Hornets fans, I don't know their mental state, are saying, trade LaMelo, let's build around this guy. This guy looks more promising. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Most people that say stuff on the internet are just talking out of their booty cheeks. I mean, that just kind of shows just how impressive Concacaf has been so far this season. All right, so that was everybody's favorite white boy. Now I'm going to talk about everybody's second favorite white boy. A lot of white guys in this video. I'm glad to see the NBA is having equal representation nowadays. Cooper Flagg, most hyped up prospect we've seen in a while. Coming into the draft, people were saying he was the next LeBron James. He was the next face of the league. He was going to be an instant impact from the get-go. And so far, he's been good, but he just hasn't been generational like everybody has said. The Mavericks suck. They're not a good team this year. No AD, no Kyrie. Up until about a week and a half ago, Nico Harrison was still being your GM. But there's a lot of things to be happy about with Cooper Flagg's game. I mean, 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 45% from the field. Really similar to Concacaf's game, but personally, in my opinion, I just feel like Concacaf's been a little bit more impressive. But I think what Cooper Flagg so far lacks in offensive ability, he makes up for in defensive ability, averaging about 1.5 steals per game and almost a block. The one thing that I'm really worried about with the Mavericks and stunting Cooper Flagg's growth is them being dead set on wanting him to run their point guard position. Now, I know in the NBA, the point guard that's way taller than everybody else, the abnormally tall point guard, is a very sought after, interesting archetype for a lot of NBA teams. And you have a guy like Ben Simmons, who's basically a 6'10 point guard, or going all the way back to Magic Johnson, who was a 6'9 point guard. Those guys are really intriguing because they set an automatic mismatch out on the floor. You have your point guard sitting at like 6'9, while most other point guards in the league are shorter than like 6'3, as well as a 6'9 point guard just being able to see above the defense and play make and facilitate way better than, a 6'1 point guard who can't, see around bigger guys. But I just think it's not there. There's a huge difference for me between a forward with playmaking and facilitating abilities and a tall point guard. And the point guard is the hardest position to play in basketball. You not only have to look for your own shots when you're open and decide when to take it yourself or when to get it to teammates, you also have to share the ball around, command an offense, and that is a very hard thing to do. And especially for a rookie, it's going to be very, very hard for a guy like that who's never really played point guard in his life to just come in and be like, all right, I got this, guys. And so I think the Mavericks are just better off just running Cooper Flagg at his position at a small forward or power forward and just having somebody else command the offense, and instead just run the offense around him, get him into off-ball actions, get him the ball, get him open, just keep getting him shots instead of having him take the ball up and try to initiate this offense. It just isn't working. It's very reminiscent of the Spurs with Jeremy Sohan and their weird experience of being like, yeah, we're going to run him at the point guard. Like, why are you doing that? There's no reason to do that. You're just taking a guy who's played the same position his whole life and just slotting him in this whole new role that he's never played in his entire life. And that's obviously not going to work out for you. But overall, I think Cooper Flagg has still been a really good rookie so far. Just the expectations were just too high for him, in my opinion. And then the last guy I want to talk about that's in my top 3 of rookies so far is VJ Edgecombe. Now, VJ Edgecombe had that historic debut where he scored like 30-something points, looked like a seasoned veteran out there, looked like he's been there, he's ready for this moment, and he's ready to make a wave in the NBA. Now, unfortunately, he's kind of dropped off. In October, he was averaging 20 points per game on like 50% shooting, and so far in November, he's averaging like 12 on like 30% shooting. And to me, it just looks like he's being overused out there. It's very hard for a rookie to be consistently good the entire season just because 82 games, the competition level, it's nothing that they've ever experienced before. And I think Nick Nurse kind of shot himself in the foot in being like, whoa, this guy's elite. And all of a sudden he becomes the second option on a team where he's probably not ready to be a second option. But the one thing that I love about VJ Edgecombe is his aggressiveness. He is not scared in the slightest to take it to these older guys, take it to these NBA greats. And you want to have a guy who's not timid out there, that believes that he can perform at the highest level. Because if the development comes through and he's as good as everybody says he is, oh my gosh, with that sort of mindset, dude, nobody's going to be able to stop him. So far on the season, he's averaging, again, 15 points. Like I said, a very, very close race so far when it comes to stats. On pretty rough efficiency now. Like I said, he really kind of has slowed down in November. But the Philadelphia 76ers are surprising a lot of people this year with their play and with their record in the East so far. And I think some of that has to be accredited to VJ Edgecombe. Whether he's shooting good or not, he does command a little bit of respect from the defense. And he's the type of player that, you know, if the defense sort of disrespects him, like, he's going to take it to you. And we've seen that. We saw that in his debut. And so that makes me hopeful that, you know, that type of player is in there night in and night out and not just, you know, every once in a while. I really like what I see from VJ Edgecombe. Less so stats-wise, but more so just mindset-wise, aggressiveness-wise. You want a guy who wants to be out there and take it to the defense and make them uncomfortable. And then last but not least, I just want to highlight some kind of steals so far of the draft. And the first one is the Memphis Grizzlies' Cedric Coward. Now, Cedric Coward, for a lot of people, has been the second most impressive rookie so far behind Knipple. And this was a guy who was drafted in the late lottery at the 11th spot. And so he was able to fall to the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies were able to, you know, kind of scoop him up while all these other teams are scooping up guys like Jeremiah Fears and Yegor Demin and Derek Queen, Trey Johnson, all these other guys who are a lot more hyped than Coward. But Coward is right now outperforming all of them. And that's really what you want to see in Memphis right now, because everything else looks rough in Memphis right now. I'm not going to lie. Ja Morant looks bad. Jaren Jackson Jr. looks bad. And so Cedric Coward has been the one bright spot for the Grizzlies right now. Now, I haven't watched a lot of Memphis Grizzlies basketball, admittedly, but from what I've seen from Coward, I think Cedric Coward has been way better than the Grizzlies had expected, and that's really all you can really look at right now. He reminds me a lot of Gigi Jackson a couple years ago and what he could have been for the Grizzlies, and unfortunately it just seems like it didn't really work out with his development. But again, he just really reminds me of that type of player, and hopefully he'll be the Gigi Jackson that actually developed and becomes a good core piece of this Grizzlies squad. And the last player that I want to talk about that's actually been the absolute steal of this draft is another Charlotte Hornets draft pick, and that's Ryan Kalkbrenner. Big body center out of Creighton, taken with the 34th pick in the draft. The stats don't scream out to you compared to the other people that I've talked about in this video. 9.9 points, 7.1 rebounds, 2.2 blocks, but the crazy thing so far is 81% from the field. And I think this pick of Ryan Kalkbrenner by the Hornets was 100% the best pick that they could have made at the center position, because when you think about their lineup, you think LaMelo Ball, super ball dominant, likes to have the ball in his hands a lot. Brandon Miller, another pure scorer, likes to have the ball in his hands a lot, likes to get up a lot of shots. Miles Bridges, another main scorer who likes to have the ball in his hands and likes to shoot the ball a lot. And then with the fourth pick, you had Kon Knipple, who so far is another pure scorer. And so you have a lot of guys that need to get shots up in order to be effective. And so for your center, you want a center who doesn't need to score in order to be effective. And Ryan Kalkbrenner is the perfect example of that, because he's able to affect the game with his interior defense, with his rebounding, with just being out there and getting a body in front of people. He doesn't need to take 10 shots a night and score 15, 20 points a night in order to be good out there. If he's not scoring many points, if he's taking 2 or 3 shots a night and hitting all of them or most of them, but then he's also getting 10 rebounds a night and 2 to 3 blocks a night, he is making such an impact on the game. And again, I think it's a perfect pick for the Hornets and a perfect place to slot him in to a lineup with there's a bunch of ball dominant scorers that need to get a lot of shots up in order to be effective. But I see him 100% as like a Mitchell Robinson or like a Rudy Gobert, just a guy who, you know, doesn't do much offensively out there, but anchors the defense as a whole. The rest of the rookie class, there's been some good players, but not anything crazy. Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen out of New Orleans have both been pretty solid for them, but unfortunately not solid enough to warrant trading that pick to get Derek Queen and now giving up their first round pick this year. Ace Bailey, unfortunately, has kind of gotten off to a slow start. I heard maybe that he was injured and he's been trying to get better, and so they've been kind of limiting his minutes. He's had a couple good games recently, but to really start the season just hasn't really been that good. Trey Johnson, Colin Murray Boyles, all these lottery picks aren't overperforming at all, but they're not underperforming. They're just doing good. But as a whole, this draft has been really, really promising so far, especially after the year that we had last year where the class was just really weak as a whole. And so it's nice to see a rebound year of 2025 and that this draft looks promising with a lot of young guys that could make very solid careers in the NBA so far. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And again, if you guys want to stay and want to be part of my community, I would love to have you. Hit that subscribe button. And again, leave a comment. Who's your favorite rookie? What rookie has surprised you in a good way or a bad way? I make sure to respond to every single comment because, again, I just love to talk basketball. And if you guys want to see another similar video where I talk about how the Eastern Conference has made absolutely no sense so far this year, make sure to hit this video right up in the corner. It's another great watch, very similar to this video. But yeah, with that being said, guys, as always, peace and love.